Welcome to day 49 of our 52 days through Nehemiah. I'm Christy Birchville. Today we are looking at Nehemiah chapter 13, verses 1 through 9. They say, "On that day they read from the book of Moses in the hearing of the people, and in it was found written that no Ammonite or Moabite should ever enter the assembly of God. For they did not meet the people of Israel with bread and water, but hired Balaam against them to curse them. Yet our God turned the curse into a blessing. As soon as the people heard the law, they separated from Israel all those of foreign descent. Now before this, Eliashib the priest, who was appointed over the chambers of the house of our God, and who was related to Tobiah, prepared for Tobiah a large chamber where they had previously put the grain offering, the frankincense, the vessels, and the tithes of grain, wine, and oil, which were given by commandment to the Levites, singers, and gatekeepers, and the contributions for the priests. While this was taking place, I was not in Jerusalem, for in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, I went to the king. And after some time, I asked leave of the king and came to Jerusalem. And I then discovered the evil that Eliashib had done for Tobiah, preparing for him a chamber in the courts of the house of God. And I was very angry, and I threw all the household furniture of Tobiah out of the chamber. Then I gave orders, and they cleansed the chambers, and I brought back there the vessels of the house of God with the grain offering and the frankincense." Keyword for today, accountability. It's interesting because there's actually been quite a bit of time that passes between chapter 12 and chapter 13. And he talks about it there in these verses that, they had all these great commitments and the people planned to do, yes, we're going to follow God. And so then Nehemiah goes back to the king. He wants to give a report. Hey, you allowed me to go to Jerusalem and get all these things done. And I did. Here's what God allowed us to do. Isn't it amazing? Then after some time, he decides, I'm going to go back to Jerusalem and just kind of check on everybody, see how they're doing. Well, that's when he starts finding some of these things. Some things that he had left commandments about that the people had kind of fallen back on and were no longer following exactly what God had said them to do. So accountability. Are we going to be accountable to what we tell God we're going to do? In these two cases, the people fell short. And there was several people in the assembly who weren't supposed to be in the assembly based on the law of Moses. And then there was even someone living in the temple in a place that was supposed to be used for sacrifices and for offerings. When we take a look at our lives, the question mark becomes, are we being accountable? When we tell God we're going to do something, when we make a commitment to God, do we follow through with it? Do we do what we say we're going to do? In other words, integrity. Do we have integrity with how we interact in our relationship with God? As Nehemiah is kind of going through this time of recheck, after every commitment that we have with God, there needs to be time of recheck, refresh, review. Are we still doing what we said we're going to do? Are we following up on the things that God has told us to do? And are we still being honest to that commitment to Him? So that's the question for us today. When we started this 49 days ago, what were some of the commitments that you made to God? Some of the things that you felt like God calling you to do, to be obedient to Him in? Are you still following through with those commitments? We'll continue. We got 3 more days left. Excited to see what else Nehemiah finds on his return visit to Jerusalem. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.